She built her dream mansion on my land, and when she cut the ribbon, I took the keys. It started as a quiet argument over a boundary line just a few feet of dirt behind my fence. But for our HOA president, Linda Crane, those few feet were worth millions. She ignored every survey, every warning, and decided to expand her property just a little. Except her little turned into a full-blown luxury villa, 6 bedrooms, a private pool, and marble imported from Italy. What she didn't know was that I documented everything, every truck, every permit, every illegal payment, and when the final chandelier was hung, I made one phone call and the home she thought was hers legally became mine. When I bought my property 10 years ago, it came with something most neighbors didn't have: a sliver of land behind my fence. It wasn't much, maybe an acre and a half, but it touched the small wooded area at the edge of the development. It was peaceful, quiet, and technically outside the HOA jurisdiction. That detail mattered because Linda, our HOA president, had one goal: control every inch of this community. At first, it was little things: nasty emails about lawn height, warnings for trash bins visible from the street, citations for paint shades that didn't match community harmony. She treated the HOA like her personal empire. Then came the expansion. She bought the property next to mine and decided to build what she called the crown jewel of the community. Only problem, the edge of her blueprint, a few dozen feet, crossed over onto my land. When I pointed it out, she brushed it off with a smile. "Oh, it's just a survey error. We'll clean it up later." But she never did. Instead, she doubled down. Construction started the next month. Bulldozers leveled the woods, trucks came in daily, and I watched the boundary markers disappear. I hired a private surveyor. He confirmed it. Nearly 20% of her new foundation sat squarely on my property. When I brought the report to her, she laughed. "You think you can fight me? The HOA board backs me up. I am the board." That's when I decided I wouldn't fight her. Not yet. I'd document everything. Every time her contractors entered my land, every invoice, every payment to the construction company. I even placed a motion camera behind the fence, legal, since it was on my property. Over the next year, I built a digital trail thicker than her mansion walls, and as the project grew, so did her ego. She hosted board meetings bragging about her Mediterranean masterpiece. Neighbors were invited to watch the progress. She even gave interviews for a local luxury magazine standing on land that wasn't hers. I stayed quiet, not a word, because I knew the law accession. In property law, if you build something permanent on land you don't own, the landowner owns everything built on it. She was literally spending millions to make me richer. By month 9, the structure was nearly done. Italian marble floors, hand-carved stone pillars, imported chandeliers. She even built an infinity pool that cut right across my lot line. My lawyer and I prepared everything: the title maps, the surveys, the deed records, the HOA charter that proved my property sat outside their control. We didn't need to stop her. We just needed her to finish. So when she invited the community for her grand opening, I showed up, camera in hand. The moment she cut that ribbon, smiling for photos in front of her $6 million villa, I walked up and handed her a letter. It wasn't congratulations. It was a notice of ownership transfer backed by state property law and notarized by the county recorder's office. The look on her face, priceless. The moment I handed her that letter, the crowd went silent. Neighbors froze, cameras stopped flashing. Linda's confident grin cracked into confusion, then fury. "What the hell is this supposed to mean?" she snapped, waving the papers in my face. "This is my property. I built this home. I didn't raise my voice." "I didn't have to on my land," I said calmly, "and by state law, that means this entire structure is legally mine." Her husband tried to laugh it off until my attorney, standing right beside me, introduced himself and handed him the county survey documents, property deed, and a copy of the accession law itself. That's when it hit her. You could see the panic bloom behind her eyes, realizing every penny, every imported tile, every chandelier now belonged to me. She screamed that she'd call the police. I encouraged her to. 10 minutes later, 2 sheriff's deputies arrived, and after reviewing the documents, one of them just nodded at me and said, "He's right, ma'am. This is a civil matter, but from what I can see, You've built over his boundary line." Her face went pale. Neighbors started whispering. People who had once feared her now looked almost relieved. For years, she'd terrorized them with fines and threats. Now she was the one facing ruin. 2 days later, I was served with a lawsuit wrongful claim of property. Her attorney demanded an emergency injunction to block me from taking possession of the villa, but the court didn't see it her way. See, I'd been careful. My property deeds dated back 60 years long before the HOA even existed. Her survey error wasn't an error at all, it was fraud, proven by her own emails to the contractor, telling them to just push the foundation a bit over the old fence line. I had copies of those emails. Her contractor, fed up with her micromanaging, sent me everything after she refused to pay their final bill. So when we showed up in court, my lawyer dropped the evidence like a bomb. The judge barely needed 10 minutes. He ruled the entire structure from foundation to roof was mine. And worse for her, the HOA insurance wouldn't cover her loss because it was an intentional violation. $6 million gone. After the verdict, the dominoes started falling fast. The HOA board called an emergency meeting without her. Turns out, she'd been funneling HOA funds into community improvements that didn't exist, all while using HOA contractors to build her private villa. Fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion. The FBI got involved within weeks. Neighbors came by to thank me. Some brought wine. Others just stood at the edge of the driveway, shaking their heads. Can't believe she thought she owned the whole neighborhood. One said, "Well," I replied, "technically I do now. I didn't move in right away. For a while, I just walked through the villa room by room, feeling the weight of it all. The marble floors she bragged about. The gold fixtures she imported. The grand staircase she said would impress investors. Now every inch of it was mine. I eventually turned it into a vacation rental. The income alone paid off my mortgage in under a year. And sometimes, when I drive past the HOA sign, the one she had installed herself, I smile. Because she still lives nearby. And every time she drives past my new gate, she has to see the villa she built. For me, they say revenge is best served cold. But when someone builds you a $6 million mansion on your land, it's best served with marble floors and lake views. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.